Soul Fusion Cafe with myself, Jess Juntunen, your grateful, gracious, happy host to be here once again with you every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. 12 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday. You can catch it at onenesstalkradio.com. At the live feed there. Also, you may be tuning into the YouTube live stream or the Facebook live stream, both of which can be found by looking at Oneness Talk Radio when you are searching in YouTube or Facebook. And you can chat along with others. I try to connect with the chat when it's possible because that is very fun. And also, we have open phone lines today for you, which is really a lot of fun because you can share what your experience is of the energies of these times, or if you have a question you want to ask about multidimensionality, for example, or health or wellness, something that you feel like I might be able to support you with. This is your moment to ask for that or a mini reading. I would love to tap in and offer you that as well. So the phone number for that is 517-208-1500. Again, the number to call in is 517-208-1500. And happy to bring you into the queue and to say hello. And yeah, we're here. We're here in this beautiful ascended community. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm messing around with all the background technology and I really want to get present in this moment. So hi, how are you doing? And I mean, really, so often we just ask, hey, how's it going? And we just have that monkey response kind of thing. And that's all fine and good. But how often do we really sit with ourselves and ask, how am I doing right now? Take a breath, connect to your heart. How are you? Simply be aware. Simply notice what is coming forward with no judgment of it. It might be exuberant and yes, yes, yes. It might be like, I'm barely hanging on. Acknowledge whatever's coming forward and wherever we are. And the more, that is the key. The more we can really be aware right now, the more we can have that opportunity to love ourselves ever more and shift and lift into a higher frequency. So today is an awesome show because it's January 2021. Every week I come to you, I love to touch into what's happening energetically right now, just serving as that anchor point of, oh yeah, remember there's a bigger picture happening, because sometimes we start drowning in our personal story and our world can get really small. So that's why it's so amazing to connect with spiritual teachings, uplifting conversations. If it fits and feels good and uplifting and helps you have a context for what's happening, that's great, because we can get really stuck in the minutia of the day. So I know even for me, being here and being present, it's always expanding my view to a greater worldview of what's happening, what's possible, and to remember that there's a lot more going on than what our mind is focused on. That's just so limited, right? And so I like to always talk about the bigger picture when we're here. So January 12th today, holy cow. And it's been a wild ride, January 2021 so far. So definitely a lot of the show is about, hey, how are we surfing January 2021 and 2021 as a whole? What are we doing? This is really a supportive space for those that are working with the energy of higher consciousness, higher love, those that know that there's more going on that meets the eye, and we're ready to join up and remind each other and to have that support for one another as we ascend into the true self that we really are, the self with the capital S. How do we really have a radiant life? And how do we support ourselves on all these multidimensional planes? There's a lot happening within each and every one of us, right? So just notice where you are, notice what's happening around you, because whatever's coming up into your consciousness is a communication with you. And a lot of our material is subconscious, right? But as things bubble up, pay attention. If anger is present, notice it. What does it have to teach us in that moment? What is it saying inside of us that needs maybe some attention? It's communicating an unmet need. It's communicating a fear that has grown very large. And that is the moment to sit with ourselves and be very aware and release all the judgment, right? Self ascension, one of the essential steps of self ascension is to release all judgment. So, really be aware what's coming up. And this is the framework of support that keeps us in a continually replenishing energy and connected to our wisdom so that we don't get pulled in and sucked in and unable to lift back out of the quagmire and the muck that is all around us. So, saying hello to those of you joining over at YouTube and over at Facebook. Oh, hello, beautiful angels and souls. It's so fun. Those of you that are able to pop in live, always a great time. So, yeah, 2021 is the big year of thrive or dive. Thrive or dive. Are we thriving or are we diving? So, this the framework of support, the steadfast commitment, focused awareness, complete trust is what sees us through. And if any of this is resonating with you, please check out Shri and Kira's work. Master Lady Kira Ra, Wisdom Teacher Sri Ram Ka. You can find them on YouTube at Official Shri and Kira, their website, shriandkira.com, SRIANDKIRA, because everything that I definitely resonate with and is a core of what I bring forward in my own sharings of what's happening is connected to what they're sharing. They're sharing such a pure energy of ascended realms and masters that come through. So if you are not familiar with their work, but what I'm speaking to resonates, please go check them out because you can get a lot more in depth. And if you already are checking them out, awesome. And hopefully just this hour facilitates, reconnection to the energies that are transpiring and helps inspire you to keep going forward in the way that your mastery is awakening you to. So, thrive or dive energy, big time, big time. And steadfast commitment, focused awareness, complete trust being that framework that gets us through, right? So, it's really easy to remember that density energy. That's the energy of the fear, chaos, anger, victim consciousness, all of that lives in the 3D and it's magnetic and charged. Every week, I'm sure I'm almost on like a broken record, but to those that could just be tuning in and hearing this, just a little background on that is useful and for us all to remember because it's strong. It's easy during the day to forget, even if you've been on a spiritual path a long time, to forget where you're at, get pulled in by a trigger or something. And that's when we use our tools and we become even a more ascended, enlightened master every single time. And we start to say, oh, cool, here's a quagmire. I get to walk through this. I know how to do this. And it's that framework of support that does you through the steadfast commitment, focused awareness, and complete trust every time. So the steadfast commitment is saying, yes, I'm going to keep going. And it does require spiritual tenacity. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That if you've walked this path of owning your shit, healing, walking forward, you've had to have tenacity to keep saying yes. And maybe sometimes you even felt like you wanted to give up or tap out. That has happened to me more times than I can count in my spiritual growth and lifetime. And quite often in this past year, even, of course, the most amazing, miraculous things are happening. But we all have those moments where you just like, I don't know. But there is, that inner peace that says, I got to keep going, because even if you play devil's advocate and you say, what if I was just to quit? Let yourself have that opportunity. If I just gave up, what would things look like for me? And 99.9% of the time we go, yeah, I'm going to keep going because it's the only option, even though it's hard sometimes. People are lying if they say it's easy to do this kind of work and evolve our consciousness. It does take work. However, things can happen very easily and instantaneously. Absolutely. but there is a steadfast commitment because there will be that pull of the density experience. And it's so strong right now, this beginning of the year. And we are in this kind of closing out energy of an important 2 weeks that began in January, and we go into up level new moon tomorrow. If you're catching this right now on Tuesday, the new moon up level is Wednesday, the 13th. If you're catching this later, just tap back into that new moon energy and notice where you were at on the new moon, because this is a peak up level day. There are 4 peak up level dates in 2021, and this is the first one. And every new moon is an illuminated new moon. This is different than some of our traditional conceptions of the new moon. This is a very revelatory and a huge moment to anchor greater balance and harmony around these new moons. And when it's a peak up level day, you better believe it. And it carries the energy and ascended numerology of the 12. If ascended numerology interests you, go to shriankara.com, look at the ascended numerology for January. It's amazing. And being an ascended numerologist myself, it's so fun to look at the numbers and to see what is happening around specific dates and the months, because there is this energy of the 12, and that is mastery. 12 is definitely mastery, and it's a unification. It's the 1 and the 2, oneness, and the unification of the 2 as the 1, and so many other aspects of that 12. And it correlates all of the numbers in dates and ascended numerology correlate to chakras in the body and etheric body, etc. And the 12 is all about star consciousness. So star consciousness, if you don't know what that is, it lives above your third eye. If you're able to be watching, or if you're listening to audio, it's between the third eye and your hairline, and it sits right there. And definitely, join in for the new moon ceremony I'm doing tomorrow, because we will do star consciousness activation together and really be in that energy during the new moon up level ceremony. You can go to selfascensionstudios.com. It's at 7 p.m. You do get a recording if you can't be there live, but if you can be there live, that's great. And it's really a moment to call in balancing. It's really a moment to anchor that star consciousness and really see the vision. What is possible in the world when we are holding that vision of what's possible for each being and their potential in this lifetime. And divine directors came out with that really strongly. So it's huge. And then January is carrying this January 2021 has the energy of the 4, or January itself is the 4, like the root chakra. And it's all about like this safety, safety, safety. And it lifts into the 5th chakra with 2021. 2021 is all about the 5th chakra. It's a 5. 2021 carrying the infinite energy. So there is a big cosmic component. And star consciousness, it's like, boom, throat chakra. Can you lift through your throat so you can shine and radiate ever more the truth and presence of who you really are? It's time. But the safety, we're being in this opportunity right now to really say, am I safe in my being? And can I lift and express the truth of who I am? Can I express that? Am I able to share that? Am I feeling still scared? So that's where the focused awareness in that framework of steadfast commitment, focused awareness, complete trust comes in. Being aware. Yeah, we have the commitment. We keep saying yes. What are you aware of? And checking in often. Are you holding a tightness? Are you clenching the jaw? This is all connected to the throat too. Are you feeling, like a hesitation in the heart? Is there a wound? Maybe in the back of the energy field there, between the high heart and the throat. Very active right now and seeking us to offer more support. Breath, breathing, expressing. I'm noticing getting in the shower. Water is so helpful. Flow, 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 or the tub. And toning, letting whatever vocalizations want to come forward. Maybe it's humming, singing, groaning, chanting, screaming, whatever it is, let the neighbors think what they're going to think. I definitely probably had neighbors wonder what was happening, right? just let it go, or get outside and let it go, or do it into a pillow, whatever it takes, because move the energy, so important. And yeah, it's definitely a essential mastery moment to say, I'm aware of what's going on and I'm not going to back down. I'm not going to judge myself. I'm going to have compassion for whatever's coming forward and allow myself to move that energy. Be really aware. Be really aware of what's, where your attention is. If you notice you're feeling stuck or sticky, that means you probably really done a dive down into the muck of density. Then notice, what led to this? What was I feeling? What was I experiencing? What energy was I interfacing with? And pay attention. Pay attention. So through that commitment to keep paying attention and paying attention, you are able to ignite ever further the mastery, wisdom, knowingness, unlock a lot of your own um, presence, and you can just walk through it that much more easily and serve as the guide, really serve as the guide. And part of why I brought in this beautiful background was a photo I snapped of sunset at Lake Superior, and there's the lighthouse in the back, and there's all this snow and crystal and energy of the earth, right? I love that snow and ice are the solid crystals of the water, right? And the lighthouse being that's what we're doing, right? We are the torch bearers. We're holding the light for other beings so that they may remember their light. And when we can remind ourselves of that, sometimes we can pull ourselves even out of the stickiest moment and claim, what, I deserve to thrive. And then complete trust is that third piece of the framework, that we have to trust so deeply. And this one can hang up a lot of us. And trust is so connected to our empowerment and our joy, really third chakra stuff. And like that's like a lot of times you might feel an ache in the belly or spinning feelings. This chakra can be really shaken up when we're not, we're afraid of being who we are. We're afraid of our own power. We're giving our power away to outside authorities, or if somebody presents their story as truth, if they even present the story of who you are as a truth in a stronger sense than you believe in the truth of yourself, you will bow over to their version of events because you don't carry enough power for yourself. So love yourself. And it's not accidental that this is like the joy chakra. This is about embracing God, embracing the divine. That's in self ascension, that joy embraces God, right? And it's tough. This is a big area that's also calling out for a lot of support. And I think it's so tied to throat chakra. I mean, if we can't trust ourselves, if we can't be empowered in our actions in this body of form on this planet, but as the wise wisdom keeper, light being that we are, if we can't really trust that and we can't really trust the divine, how in the heck can we express ourselves, right? How can we really truly feel safe to speak the truth of who we are? And that's not necessarily just with words, it's our actions, our being. But if we're not able to embrace joy, and this really got me thinking a lot recently about shame, and how shame is the lowest vibration that we can feel. And that's like a David Hawking's scale of consciousness, where he measured all these emotions and states of being in terms of consciousness. But shame's the lowest level, and then looking at researchers that study shame and thinking about Brene Brown's amazing work in understanding shame, that it's the complete lack of any sense of deservedness or worthiness. It's the I am presence. I mean, when we speak, we create things into form, the voice, the throat chakra. I am, when we make a declaration, but if we're saying I'm crazy, I'm effed up, I'm a terrible person, I'm a bad mom, I'm a bad friend, I don't know, I am fucked up, right? Like, think about what we are saying. When we say that, we are creating that as our reality, but it comes from an inner core belief. That's why sometimes affirmations could be said all day long, like, I'm a millionaire, but we're not a millionaire yet, right? I mean, that's like a really fun, like, training wheels to manifest, but we have to believe that we deserve and are capable of receiving that before we could even manifest it. So it's like, I'm a powerful being, and manifester would be the first place to work and to really get aligned in the truth of who we are and the power. It's imperative to study and be on your spiritual path so that you can keep connecting and remembering who you are. And you don't have to follow, you know, one person or another based on like who you think you should follow. It's about finding a path and a teaching that works for you, that feels good for you, but like really sticking with it, really bringing it into your daily experience, doing the spiritual practices that really nourish you, prioritizing um, the spiritual essence of our journey is absolutely essential to be able to come into that empowerment within. Because without it, we get too stuck in that quagmire of the density experience that is loud and out there and ready to grab us. So I'm going to shout out that phone number again in case anybody wants to call in with any questions you have about what's going on right now. If you have any sharings, how you're doing, celebrations, blessings, whatever you want to share, or if you want to request a reading, the number is 517-208-1500. That is 517-208-1500. So, yeah, as we are here discussing, what's going on in January, what's going on in 2021, it's big, it's really big. And I highly suggest tuning into, Sundays with Shri and Kira. It's at 12 Pacific, 3 Eastern for the Sunday services, because they're always breaking down what's going on. Or check out Soul Mirrors tonight with Kira Ra, because I can't wait to hear what else she has to share. Because there's so much going on that is very much week by week or day by day right now, to really be able to digest everything. And I'm not going to pretend I understand everything, but definitely the more I tap in and work with understanding what's happening energetically, the more I have the aha moments and revelations, the more I do the practices that support me, the more I commit to the studying, just reading a little bit. It's really what works for you. I've found that because of the worthiness factor that so many of us struggle with as humans, because we feel so much internalized shame, we prevent ourselves from actually doing the things that would help us because we think we don't deserve them. Uh, it's kind of like a virus. This is the best way I can describe it. It's a virus of consciousness. 3D land and Earthland, there's a lot going on. There is a virus running around the whole globe, right? And got everyone's attention. But what really is affecting us is the consciousness, and it is like a virus. It is like an illness, and if you spend too much time in density, you're going to get it. It's going to get on you. It's fear, but you can, but notice, be aware if you spent too much time there. I mean, spending the less time, the better, in that energy, but that it's really easy. uh, we have to pay attention to who we're spending time with. Community matters. That's why I do the new moon gatherings every month. Go to selfascensionstudios.com and check those out. And those are my just gift to the world. It is a donation, but you do not have to. It's just really there for us to be able to connect and balance and come into a space of that shared community. But, and so is this hour on Tuesdays, and there's so many opportunities. Sri and Kira Tosa, that is an amazing community. Check out onenesstalkradio.com. There's so many hosts and so many parts of this community that you can be part of. And it's so much bigger than just the individuals that are standing as the kind of like way showers and torch bearers. It's all of the beings that are saying yes in so many different ways. So who are you aligning with? Who are you hanging out with? Who are you spending time with? And sometimes it can feel lonely. We can go through a point where we feel like we don't have many people in the physical world that could understand us or that could talk about the kind of experiences we're having, or the conversation that we're having here today would be a tall order, and it can feel lonely. There is a time where we go through that experience where if we're up leveling and we're stepping into our authenticity ever more and more, we realize that there are those that just cannot meet us there, and that's okay. That's like okay. They are free to their journey as you are free to yours, and all paths are leading home. Archangel Zadkiel always reminds us of this, that all paths are are leading each being home in the exact way they need to, in their exact timing, right? All are ascending. No one's going to get left behind. Everyone's ascending. So really really rich energetic times. A lot is happening, a lot's going on, and it's back to that kind of shame worthiness fun conversation. But you know what it is? Our joy lives in our third chakra, and we're afraid of it. We're afraid of our joy. We're afraid to experience our true joy. And this came through in a few different ways. I was watching this Brene Brown interview with Oprah. I think I just caught like a minute or two of it, but what was said was so important. And she'd said, choosing to live disappointed, that so many people were choosing to live disappointed rather than living joyfully, just to alleviate that risk of feeling disappointed. So many people are choosing disappointment. And the way that framed really was like, makes sense with this work of self ascension, that it's so scary to be joyful, because we are always our brain, not our higher self, but our brain and our ego that only looks at past experience and tries to keep us safe from hurting ourselves, will say, look at all the bad things that could happen. So when something really amazing happens in our life, we say, oh no, like, when's the other shoe gonna drop? How am I gonna look back? um what's happening behind me? I don't know, but that's scary. And if I feel joy, I might feel a deep amount of pain when I lose the joy. So that's really an important consideration, I think, is that the majority of us live this way until we walk through it, and we do have to walk through our fear. We absolutely do. And that's what stops people. That's really what stops people from ascending and doing the work to really manifest. That takes us from affirmations to that law of instantaneous manifestation, where miracles are our birthright. We know it, we trust it, the complete trust, steadfast commitment, focused awareness, complete trust. But we have to really, that awareness piece leads us into the trust. When we say, okay, I'm really aware where my energy has been, what's been going on. I see it. I'm not judging it. I'm carrying unconditional love and compassion for myself, and walking through it and expanding anyways. And we trust ever more the experience. We keep walking forward, but we have to be able to connect with our joy, and when you can think of times where you were really taken care of and supported no matter what. And the support does show up when we trust. It will show up. It will show up in ways that defy the mind. It will show up in ways that are beyond definition, because we try to figure everything out, but we can't. We have to trust, and we have to just eventually come to that moment where we just say, I'm surrendering. I'm surrendering all of my ego, all of my fears, what ifs, should have, could have, would have, and I am allowing myself to free fall into trust. Trust that the universe has my back. Trust that, the support's going to show up. Trust. Because without that trust, there will always be that fear that stops you from living your dreams. Doubt will disconnect you from your dreams. It will disconnect you from the truth of your being so fast. And then solutions cannot come forward. You are out of alignment completely, and you are open to interference energies. And there's a lot of interference energies that want to stop you. Absolutely. Because fear is so high on the planet that it's just like walking around in a toxic soup if you are spending too much time in the third dimension. But you are a person in form. We can't just live in the fifth dimension or multidimensional space and not do things here. And that's where passionate action comes in. That's when we become the embodiment of the one that is walking the walk, that is saying, I am here. I am ready. I am open and I am guided. That's saying, watch out. Here I am. I'm not afraid anymore. But we have to actually be willing to drop the old BS. And so much of ourselves that we have thought was ourself is just the construction of our personality, our ego, our mind, our thoughts, emotions, past triggers, events, hurts, fears about the future, right? That's not who we are. This is about falling deeply in love with your soul, falling deeply in love with the self with a capital S. And this is what we're being called into. So if you feel like you have been tested in every way these past 2 weeks, yes, you have. Yes, you have. You have absolutely been in a vortex of crazy, wild experiences, and we have all been on this ride. And you're still here and you're connecting to this, whether you're here live or you're connecting in the archives. You are here right now, receiving this for a reason. Now, I know I wanted to bring something in today that I think is really important to talk about. And, you know, because we're seeing humanity being totally bananas, right? And it can be really fascinating to go watch, but that's still very hypnotic. It's like going to the movie theater. Shri will always reference this, and it makes so much sense. When we go to the movie and you're in the dark and you're watching and you come out and you feel so strange when you come back into the world after, because you went into like a hypnotic state while you were watching and through that experience of being in the theater. Density is just like that. So it's like you can pull up a tub of popcorn and watch what it's doing and be like, wow, 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 but you're in the hypnosis of it, right? Why not just say, okay, enough of that, and come up here to the fifth dimensional level and really hold the compassion, because you're doing so much from there. When you wonder how to make the world better, how is it possible? Lift into your multidimensional presence. And we are really being asked, if you've been practicing with this and playing with these concepts, to anchor in the ninth dimension now. That is available and open, and it's a big, beautiful chalice of divine feminine energy. This whole year is about concentric time, spiral time, and I will really leave that to Shri and Kira to dive into more deeply. But imagine that you are experiencing this mirror of divine love and harmony and ascension that is echoing through this year, and that everything that happens is this small time, but it is setting the course for all future events. We're writing it, we're creating it. We have gone further than we could ever gone before, and we are doing things that we have never done before. So have mercy on yourself. Isn't it amazing that we're here right now doing all of this? So we must have bravery and courage. We must say yes. This is the alignment with the truth of who we are. The lion, the one that has the power, the courage, the bravery, right? That's what we're doing. And there are many other lions and lionesses out there ready to link arms with you when you step forward and say, I am here and I am not scared. I am not going to run away. I feel no need to chase. I feel no need to convince. I just am. And that declaration from the throat, think about all the ways you are making declarations right now. I am. And with this new moon energy illuminated up level tomorrow, how are you going to harness it? We're already in the energy and it's carrying us this, this window all around it the first few days before and after, with the peak up level moment being Wednesday, January 13th. How are you showing up? How are you choosing to thrive? Where are your intentions? What are you focusing on? Are you seeing the vision for what is possible and potential in your world? Can you gaze into your eyes in the mirror and say, I love you. I am a crystalline being of light and wisdom and love. I deserve because I was born. How are you going to take passionate action and bring that into this worldly experience? The way you do it is your way and unique to you. Sometimes we think we have to make huge, grand gestures. Well, that happens sometimes. It's through the smallest, everyday, seemingly mundane decisions that we are actually saying yes to something very big, and we all of a sudden make that quantum leap by all of these small choices, gestures, love. This can be that moment of love and connection shared with your pet or a child or a loved one. It's those quiet little moments. It's how you choose to fill your own tank and how you choose to nourish, how you choose to interact. This is the mastery moment. Are you walking as the master in form? And this is this year too. All of this years. Are you being the master that you are? Are you really owning it? Are you really walking it? And this brings me back to what I wanted to share as we're looking at that world and saying, oh, it's so crazy. Again, try not to spend too much energy in there, but this is context that helps us understand what is going on. If I can get it to pull up for you guys. And this is the pyramid of spiritual awakening. And this is from Temple of Self Ascension, streetandkira.com. And definitely, it's a cornerstone of what we teach when we are teaching the alchemy of self ascension. And this helps us understand what's happening in our own evolution, as well as give us that context and compassion for the world. So this is why I bring it in. The lowest, there's 4 sections of this pyramid. If you can see my mouse going over them, I'm not sure. And the bottom level is the density consciousness that we've been talking about this hour a bit already. Density consciousness is the me focus. Me, right? And we're all born into it. Nobody escapes it. So already it's easier to have more compassion. We all have to go through this layer. There's not a shortcut. You all have to experience this. And this is where fear, anxiety, preoccupations, safety, power, sex, all of the lower chakra stuff, all of the emotions that aren't of peace, love, and joy that create stress. And it's all about, how can I be safe? It's all consuming about how can I be safe? And we all live through that. And the next layer up is the really important one to understand right now, is this spiritual activism piece. The us focus, emotional joy and righteousness live here. Righteousness, emotional joy. See, like oftentimes we get confused. We think I'm in joy because I'm in love, right? But it's emotional joy. Joy that is actually sustaining feels much more like a quality than a experience in the body. It's very much like I feel like I am in service, contentment, joyful, soul forward living. It feels connected. So the spiritual activism is really about emotional joy, and it's really about the sense of righteousness. It's really about the sense of we're right and you're wrong. And because it's a us, it's a we energy. So this is where the majority of the planet is vibrating. No surprise, given everything we see reflected in that world. And most beings are here. And there is the ability to break through. And you'll see, in order to break through, this is where conscious actions begin to live, where we're really understanding of the our ability to be conscious co-creators and to take passionate action. Below that line on this chart of the spiritual activism and below, that's where there's subconscious actions. This is like all the stuff that people don't even know, they're just acting out, right? And what gets us there is this beautiful wheel of gratitude, giving. Are you in balance? Are you able to receive and give in balance? Are you thankful? And this includes being grateful for the fear, being grateful for the anger, being grateful for all the experiences that you are being shown that are happening for you in your life, what you are noticing in the world, whatever comes up. Gratitude will always lift us into the fifth dimension, and we will anchor in ascension awareness. And this is when we become the all that is focus. This is where spiritual detachment comes. And this is what we must have right now: spiritual detachment. So, it was really interesting. I had an experience the other day talking to a family member, but they're pretty, they jive with a lot of conversations about consciousness and have a deep understanding. Yet, I became really aware in the conversation too that, again, we were in really different places. And that reminder that, we really don't have to be very off in vibration for what we're saying to make no sense to the other person. And I got that reminder because, of course, we talked about current events a little bit. And she's more anchored in looking at all that, but we were all looking at it and talking about it and processing it. We have to. We're humans. We see what's happening. We have to process our feelings. But it came to a point where I just was like, well, I really am just working on being lifted above and not being really like in it. And she said, oh, so you just don't care? Like that's what people will hear when you're in spiritual detachment. So just be aware of that, because I got that reminder of, and I've seen it come up in other places too, where um, I'm doing a lot of work, and I know a lot of you are doing a lot of work. Our connection and working on ourselves and being the best version possible, and then taking action in the world through kindness, love, generosity in the ways that we're called is so huge. But there's a sense, because she and so many others, even though like feeling very connected in lots of ways, it's that spiritual activism where there's a righteousness and you have to be angry. You have to act certain ways. And it's even come forward so interestingly. Like I am noticing increasingly on friend lists, on certain social media sites, that there's a right way to respond to what's happening, and you don't care if you aren't taking action in this way. Like noticing a judgment around how we're taking action, that's just really fascinating to me. So when we lift into the ascension awareness, we have to become detached, and you do when you are in the fifth dimension and above. You're able to have compassion for everybody, and you can only get that by healing that within yourself and having real compassion for yourself for every step. And that whole shame piece we touched on, like you got to be willing to go there and embrace that which you really would love to deny, not look at, not feel, because I think it's the root of what's causing all of the pain in the spiritual activism cycle is the inability to say, I feel ashamed, I feel vulnerable, I feel weakness, I feel whatever those uncomfortable feelings are, and not meeting them. And it just ends up polarizing people, and they align with other people that just say, Let's not look at our stuff. Let's look at what everyone else is doing wrong and be angry and justified in it. And it's a volatile energy, as we're seeing, extremely. But the spiritual joy, peace, spiritual detachment, all that is focus, really lifts us into that bigger picture. Really, we got to hang out there and hang there with each other. It's really important. And then the ascension consciousness that we can anchor in, definitely as this ninth dimensional portal is here and open and available, divine presence and bliss. So it's worth it, right? And I just love that graphic and reference because it helps us to really remember that there's a lot more going on than what's inside of me, right? And it's really a time to say, I'm not afraid anymore. There's enough other beings that they get it. This conversation we're having now, I would have been terrified to have this conversation 5 years ago. And, maybe now I still have moments of fear that I carry through. I'm not letting them dominate my experience. I love them. I just say, hey, we're going anyways. The soul's got us. Divine has us. We trust this. Let's go, and that's a huge shift that I had to make and that we all have to walk through in our own way in time. And it doesn't mean we can't go back. We can't dive back into density and that thrive or dive. It's very much like, where are you aligning? Because the dive will take you deep down. But those that are deciding to go deep down, this is where the empowered lion just says, right, I'm just going to stand here and hold presence and love. You can't chase them or dive in after them. I love that expression. If you roll around with a pig in mud, you are going to get muddy. It's just inevitable. There's no way to do it. So you just have to really love beings wherever they're at, wherever they are. And that's really the key. And I'm going to throw out that number one more time. If anyone feels called to call in, has a sharing, would like to request a mini reading, has a question, 517-208-1500, 517-208-1500. And, just really inviting ourselves to say, hey, who am I to not receive the love and blessings of the universe, of my higher self, of the self? Who am I to deny myself that connection? Who are you to not share your gifts, be who you were meant to be? Because you see many, many people aligned in spiritual activism or density. They have no problem being out there and sharing everything they are. And so why would those of us in the greatest integrity that really want to see and create a better world, if we stopped holding back, if we really healed the shame and disconnected from the doubt, imagine what we would be doing. And that is why there's a lot of energies that want to keep us there. There's so many judgments in our society and culture. I could just think of being a mom because that's a huge one for me, being a mom myself. You can pick whatever it is for you that's coming forward. But look at all the judgments that are around that. Look at all the ways women are judged as a mom and all of the different standards. It's like if that mom is a single mom, and there's a whole bunch of judgments about how she got there and how she should be and how she should act and all the sacrifice she should do, and she shouldn't party or do this or do that and do these things and not those things, and have a great home and maintain that and be productive and go to work. I'm exhausted just saying all of that. Ugh, clear that, right? And look at all of the ways it might be different for the single father, right? It's like, if he hangs out and does anything with his kids, look at him. He's doing the bare minimum. He took his kids on an outing at the park. Wow. I mean, you could see this in faculty meetings when I was in graduate school. Um, it was a humanities department, so people were pretty cool if you had to bring a kid or something for a day. but completely different. And I had friends that were both professors, completely different. If mom brought the kids to a meeting versus dad, dad gets all this praise, and mom, it's like, oh, okay, gotta bring your kids. There's like some tolerance. But like, right, these are just some examples. Like, look at all of these ways that we are operating under this limiting judgment and feeling shame because of all of these definitions and ways that we were brought up to believe we were supposed to be. So have mercy on yourself. You're dealing with cultural overlays. You're dealing with um, lineage, right? We are lineage holders that are saying, I'm going to heal for like my familial line. You probably have a lot in your family line to heal through. It's a big job. And then humanity wise, humanity, we have so much to heal. You're doing so much for so many. So when you heal and step through that, you are helping others be able to do the same thing. So who are we to not do that, right? And it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And just seeing a few things pop up in the chat. Yeah, yoga. I love that. Happy single mom for 8 years, and your kid's now 22. That's so beautiful. I love it. And oh, thank you. I'm glad you love the red and gold too. And everyone else, hi, 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 hi. So much love. But yeah, I just love that sharing. There's so I just love the moms and the single moms. I mean, I'm probably biased, but I'm like, I love you because I think we rule the world. I think when we really step forward and say, oh my God, like, um, I'm an amazing mom, an amazing person. I am supporting the upliftment of humanity through guiding this child through this experience and doing so much. When we can really claim our worth, we are the most powerful badasses there are, just hands down. So maybe again I'm biased, but I just think that's that's the truth. But we all are such powerful, amazing beings. It's just all these limitations that we took on. It's that fear of the actual connection to our joy. And once we walk through it, here's the beautiful part. You're like, oh gosh, like, why didn't I do that sooner? Why did I not walk through that moment sooner? I mean, why would we ever, ever, ever hold ourselves back so long? It's kind of like if you've given birth and after that baby's born, you do remember the pain, just like walking through his life. You remember some of the pain once you've awakened, but it just starts to fade in light of the miracle of what has been birthed. And literal birth, it's the baby. And spiritual birth, it's the new you, the new moment, the connection to your divine bliss, love, and joy. So it's this incredible moment, and you just start to go, oh, it fades. Like, wow, like, why was I so scared? Or why was that so painful? Or whatever. It's time. It's time. Absolutely time. Yes, embrace the process. Yes. Mama bears, Lynn's clapping. Yes, yes. You all are so beautiful and awesome. It's just such a big, squishy, warm hug to spend time with you guys live or in the recording. And, if you're just catching this now and you're going, who is this? When is this? This is Soul Fusion Cafe. I'm Jess Juntunen, a self ascension intuitive counselor, medical intuitive, cosmic priestess. Badass warrior of light, whatever I feel like calling myself in the moment. But you can come here on Tuesdays at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, live every week. And hey, new moon ceremony tomorrow night, January 13th. It's at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And same as New York, if you're somewhere around the planet, just look up what time it is in New York, and I'm the same time as that. And would love to have you join selfascensionstudios.com. If you have a sharing, you would like to request something and you didn't get to catch live, or you don't want to call in, you can email Jess at selfascensionstudios.com. And I'd be happy, just say Soul Fusion Cafe or radio show. And I have a question or want to request something, write it out in an email and I'll bring it into the show. And I'm always happy to hear from you, always happy to connect. Check out my page. Check out my page over at Facebook, selfascensionstudios.com, Instagram, Joy Love Jess. Connect, hang out. I love it. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep thriving. Keep being. And really, what makes me thrive? What connects me to me? Commit to that joy. connect to that presence. Like, this is the vision of you that you are creating in every moment. I am a powerful creator. I am a powerful creator. I am an infinite being of love and light. I am the most powerful words we can say because we are creating into form. So notice what you're creating: steadfast commitment, focused awareness, complete trust. We've got this. And thank you for joining me here today. I love you all so, so much, and see you next time. Big hugs, many blessings. Namaste.